All right, let's talk about two words you've probably heard a million times. Post-truth and fake news. They're everywhere, right? But what do they actually mean? Are they the same thing? It gets confusing, so today we're going to untangle this whole thing and get some real clarity.
So let's get right to it. This is the big question, isn't it? If you've ever thought these terms just get mashed together, you're not wrong. They often are. So let's draw a really clear line in the sand and figure out what's what.
Okay, here it is in a nutshell. They are absolutely not the same thing. Think of it like this. Post-truth is the environment. It's the climate, the atmosphere we're living in, where gut feelings and emotions can shout louder than objective facts. Fake news, on the other hand, is a specific thing that thrives in that climate. It's a product, a piece of counterfeit information, deliberately designed to trick you. One is the weather system. The other is the storm it creates.
So to really get a handle on this, we've got to start with that bigger picture. Let's peel back that first layer and talk about this post-truth world we keep hearing about. What is it, really?
You know, post-truth is such a dramatic term. It almost suggests that we used to live in this perfect golden age of truth, and now we've somehow fallen from it. Now, whether that golden age ever really existed, well, that's a whole other conversation. But what the term really signals is this powerful feeling that the way we talk to each other, the way our public debates work, it's just fundamentally different now.
Okay, so if post-truth is the environment, what's pumping out all that fake news that pollutes it? Well, to understand that, you've got to look beyond the politics for a second and follow the system behind it. You've got to follow the money. I think this quote from the founder of Snopes just hits the nail on the head. It's not just about a few people making up completely fabricated stories from scratch. The real issue is much bigger. It's this whole misinformation ecosystem that's just flooded with low-quality, super sensational junk that blurs the line between fact and fiction.
And this is maybe the most crucial part to understand. Yeah, political motives are a huge piece of the puzzle for sure. But the real engine, the fuel for this explosion of bad information, it's way simpler. It's incredibly profitable. Outrage gets clicks, clicks get shares, and all of that turns into ad revenue.
And it basically works like this. It's a cycle. First, someone creates some kind of shocking, emotionally charged content. Then, the algorithms on social media platforms target that content to the exact people who are most likely to react to it. 3, every time you click, like, or share, somebody makes money. And 4, the whole process just reinforces what we already believe, trapping us in those news bubbles we hear about. It's a powerful loop that just feeds itself. And if you're wondering just how effective that cycle is, wow, take a look at this. One study found that in the lead-up to the 2016 U.S. election, the top fake news stories on Facebook actually got more engagement, more shares, more reactions, more everything than the top stories from 19 major real news outlets combined. That's the profit cycle in action.
And this isn't just happening here, it's a global industry. Get this. Researchers discovered that a single small town in Macedonia became a cottage industry for fake news. They launched over 140 websites pumping out pro-Trump content. Why? Not for politics, but because teenagers there figured out they could make a ton of money just by getting Americans to click on their stories. It's a business model.
But here's the twist. As new as all this tech feels, the algorithms, the social media, the game itself, oh, it's ancient. The tools have changed, for sure. But the goal of messing with public opinion, that's been around for a very, very long time. You can actually trace a direct line from way back when to today. It starts back in the 50s, with big corporations using phony research to create doubt about the dangers of things like tobacco. Fast forward to 2005, Stephen Colbert coins the word truthiness, that feeling in your gut that something's true, even if the facts say otherwise. Then comes the 2008 financial crisis, and trust in institutions just collapses. All of that perfectly set the stage for 2016, when big events pushed this whole idea of post-truth right into the spotlight.
So, that's a lot to take in, I know. We've defined the problem, we've looked at the money, we've seen the history, so that brings us to the biggest question of all. What on earth do we do about it? How do we even begin to fight back?
So, what's the game plan? Well, experts tend to point to a few key strategies. A big one is education, actually teaching media literacy in schools. But it's also on all of us, right now, to just be more skeptical, to do our own civic due diligence before we hit that share button. And finally, you have to fight fire with fire by creating and sharing true stories that are just as compelling and interesting as the lies. But just as we start to feel a little hopeful, here comes the cold, hard reality check.
The very same people who propose these solutions are also the first to admit that they are deeply, deeply uncertain if any of it will actually be effective enough. That's a pretty sobering thought.
And the reason they're so worried is pretty simple. The solutions we just talked about, they're mostly behavioral. They count on us, on individuals, to act differently. But the problem itself, as we've seen, is systemic. It is built into the economic and technological systems that are designed for one thing above all else: engagement, not truth.
And that leaves us right here with this final, really important question. If the systems are this powerful and the solutions this uncertain, what is our role in all of this? How do we find our footing in a world where the lines are always being blurred? Maybe the first step in this new war on truth is just admitting to ourselves that the battle is happening all around us every single day. Thanks for joining me.